families and the choices we make when no one is watching. Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago, and welcome to Ask the Doctor. This isn't a show about fair or flawless living. It's about understanding your health in a world that moves fast, stresses hard, and doesn't always make sense. Whether you're watching live this evening, catching us on Friday at 11 a.m. or Saturday at 11:30, streaming on Facebook or on the CNC3 website, one thing remains true. Good health should always be within reach. And every Friday in the Trinidad Guardian, the conversation continues with Ask the Doctor, tackling the real issues affecting real people, right here at home. So we're talking straight about prevention and treatment, mental health and chronic disease, small habits and life-saving decisions. So take a breath, settle in, and stay with us, because this year isn't about starting over, it's about starting smarter. Let's start with the doctor's capsule. There may be a very simple way to reduce your risk of heart disease, and it starts in your bedroom. A major new study this week looked at light exposure during sleep in nearly 90,000 people over many years. And researchers found that people who slept in the brightest rooms had a 30 to 50% higher risk of having a heart attack compared to those who slept in darkness. The risks were striking. So hear this, sleeping with bright light at night was linked to a 56% higher risk of heart failure, a 47% higher risk of heart attack, and a 30% increased risk of stroke, rhythm abnormalities of the heart, particularly fibrillation of the atria, and coronary artery disease, even after accounting for diet, exercise, smoking, and genetics. So light at night interferes with the body's internal clock that then subsequently could affect blood pressure, heart rhythm, and metabolism. The good news, the solution is simple and low cost. Doctors recommend turn off lights while sleeping, including the TV. Use very dim night lights if needed, preferably red or not blue. Try blackout curtains if street lights shine in. Consider sleep mask. And if you like background noise, switch from TV to radio or podcast. You don't need to be in pitch darkness, just keep the light very low, because we don't want you to fall either if you wake up to use the washroom. The takeaway is powerful. Sleeping in the dark may be one of the easiest lifestyle changes you can make to protect your heart. No pills, no equipment, just better sleep hygiene starting tonight. Further afield, we've been talking about these new drugs that have been recommended to manage type 2 diabetes, but also have been found to aid with weight loss, protect the heart, and even the kidneys, called GLP-1 receptor agonists. And researchers found in the last week that people who stopped these novel agents, GLP-1 weight loss drugs, regained the weight 4 times faster than those who stopped lifestyle-based approaches, such as diet and exercise. Even more concerning when you stop these very expensive medications, the improvements in blood sugar, cholesterol, and blood pressure which were accrued while you were using them reversed quickly once the drugs were discontinued. So the takeaway is sobering but necessary. There are no miracle solutions when we're talking about weight loss. It's not like just take a weekly injection for a few months and then stop. Whether you're talking about a food pyramid or powerful drugs, health gains disappear when the foundation isn't built on sustainable habits. So the healthiest diet isn't necessarily the loudest one. It's the one you can maintain for life. And speaking of such, this week, the United States released new dietary guidelines. And while much of the advice will sound familiar, there were a few notable shifts. The core message is simple and one many doctors agree with. Eat real food. So these guidelines urge persons to prioritize protein, choose healthy fats, eat more vegetables, fruits, and whole grains, and cut back sharply on ultra-processed foods and added sugar. What's new is the tone and simplicity. Doctors are not always well trained on food and how to advise our patients. But unlike the very long 2020 guidelines, these are short, practical, and as you could see on those images, visually different, including an inverted food pyramid that moves away from the old My Plate model. The focus is on whole foods in their natural form, whether fresh, frozen, dried, or canned, as long as they don't contain too much sugar or excess salt. Protein intake is now recommended based on body weight, and there's more openness to full-fat dairy without added sugar, although some experts are divided on this. While some welcome the shift, heart specialists are cautioning that too much red meat, salt, saturated fat, and butter could, of course, raise your cardiovascular risk, and we still want to endorse plant proteins, seafood, and lean meats, if you do, on this show. One area of strong agreement across the medical bodies is the warning against ultra-processed foods when we're talking like chips, cookies, sugary drinks, and packaged snacks. Those are strongly linked to obesity, diabetes, and heart disease. For children, the guidelines reinforce breastfeeding for the first 6 months, avoiding added sugars in early life, and shaping healthier school meals, although schools warn that if you reduce these processed foods, they will need more money, staff, and infrastructure. With respect to alcohol, the message remains less is better. No amount of alcohol is safe, moving away from specific daily limits and emphasizing moderation. The big takeaway, these guidelines recognize that food is medicine. We've been preaching that on Ask the Doctor, but experts stress that access, affordability, and balance still matter. That'll be important when we talk about changing diets in school children in Trinidad and Tobago. And no single food or diet is a magic fix. As always, in medicine, the best advice remains timeless. Eat mostly whole foods. Limit your sugar and processed items. Watch portions. And make choices you can sustain for life. It's time for a short break, and when we return, the Kiddies capsule is up next.
Southern Food Basket. Quality food to fill your basket. Get it all at Southern Food Basket. Fresh goods on every aisle with best prices. For the best market around, high quality meat pound for pound. Get the best for less, start shopping. Go to Southern Food Basket. Shopping how you like it. High quality at the best prices. Every aisle just right and special. So spend less at Southern Food Basket. Good food at great prices for sure. Come get what you're looking for.
Trinidad and Tobago Carnival presents, for the very first time, at the Carnival Village, Queen's Park, Savannah, Port of Spain, Chutney Soca Monarch, the semi-final show. Friday, 30th January, showtime 7 p.m. 25 artists. RG the band, one stage, one night. Only 10 go to the final. Absolutely free to the public. Call 868-468-8728 or email southexevents@gmail.com. CSM 26.
Welcome back to CNC3's Ask the Doctor. In this fan-favorite segment, we celebrate curiosity, we encourage questions, and we want to learn about our bodies in one big adventure. So open your minds, get comfy, and get ready to learn something fun. Because when kids learn early, they grow strong for life. Let's jump right into the Kiddies capsule.
Good night. Healthy eating is important. When choosing a snack, consider the calories, check serving size, and choose nutrients wisely. This is Selena Sedising from Lendo Village Hindu School, and this was your Kiddies capsule. Bye!
Hi everyone, Instead of spending all your time on screens,
you can make a healthy choice by doing fun science experiments. Today we're going to show you an experiment you can try at home.
In science, matter is anything that has mass and takes up space.
Even though you can't see air, it's still a form of matter. In this experiment, we will need a bottle filled with vinegar, a balloon of baking soda, and we will observe what happens when they chemically react.
When the baking soda falls into the vinegar,
a chemical reaction happens and it produces carbon dioxide gas. Look, the balloon is inflating! That's because the carbon dioxide gas is filling the balloon.
That proves that air takes up space. This is a fun and healthy activity you can do instead of screen time.
Try it at home and keep exploring science. We are the Lions Academy, and this is your Kiddies capsule.
Good night. Bananas, avocados, sweet potatoes, leafy greens, and dark chocolate help to calm the nervous system. I am Tyree Cape, and I am from Lendorf Village Hindu School, and this is your Kiddies capsule. Goodbye.
Good evening, everyone. Did you know that January is Mental Wellness Month? Yes, this month highlights the importance of integrating both emotional and physical health. So remember to motivate yourself positively and begin that exercise you are planning to start. My name is Bella Puna from Lendorf Hindu Primary School, and this is your Kiddies capsule. Bye!
So, for Healthy Weight Week, keep it simple and real. Fuel smart by choosing balanced diet that satisfies you, not crash diets. Have your body in ways you enjoy because consistency beats intensity every time. Also, sleep as well as managing your stress levels are the two basically superpowers in weight management. Remember, healthy weight isn't a sprint. Small, consistent changes can make a big, meaningful change. You got this. I am Ashana Bihari, and this is your Kiddies capsule. Bye.
Hello, my name is Vincent, and I attend Specialist Cleaning Center. Happy New Year! A New Year's resolution is a commitment to improve yourself. For example, committing to improving your health means eating nutritious foods, staying active, and getting enough rest. Do you take your daily multivitamins? Do you take your medication as prescribed? These small daily habits can create big health changes, and it is not too late to make a New Year's resolution. So this year, choose one healthy habit and start today. You can do it. Start now. That was your Kiddies capsule. Have a great night.
There's always a treasure trove of information in this fan-favorite segment. Feel free to send in videos of school-aged children discussing these health-related themes to Uncle Rajiv at 800-CNC3. It's time for a short break, and when we return, the Medical Minds segment awaits.
Magical Expressions Limited is the largest local importer and distributor of fresh-cut stems, offering the widest range of beautiful flowers at the most affordable prices. Call us today at 701-6488, 701-6680, 728-6786, or visit our website to order.
Food Basket Nation's #1 supermarket, bakery, restaurant, meat market, fresh producers, everything fantastic for everyday low price. Things real nice. Come in once, but to come back twice. Wholesale retail, everything for you. A remush, I wanna shop, go view. Food Basket, the nation's #1 supermarket, bakery, restaurant, meat market, fresh producers, everything fantastic. Food Basket Marketplace, go view, where shopping is a pleasure and the price is right.
Welcome back to the #1 show for news, views, and interviews of all things medical. Our guest this evening is a clinician whose work goes far beyond teeth. He understands that the mouth is a gateway to overall health. confidence, nutrition, and quality of life. He's known for his precision, professionalism, and his ability to put patients at ease, even those who fear the dental chair. It is my pleasure to welcome to the Medical Minds no stranger, Dr. Dion Kunulal.
Losing a tooth, or several, can be overwhelming, whether it's from decay, trauma, or something that happened years ago. It's more than just a gap in your smile. It can affect your chewing, your confidence, and even the shape of your face over time. Hi, I'm Dr. Dion Kunulal, and today I want to gently walk you through a life-changing solution we offer to many of our patients: dental implants, and in some cases, bone grafting. And thank you to Dr. Deluxing and the Ask the Doctor team for having us on your program. What is a dental implant? Let's start here, because I know the word implant can sound a little intimidating. A dental implant is a small titanium post that we place in your jaw where the tooth root used to be. Over time, your bone naturally grows around it, locking it into place. Once that's healed, we place a beautiful custom-made crown on top. And voila, it looks and feels like a natural tooth. No shifting, no clicking, no taking it out at night. It's a permanent, stable solution. But what if there's not enough bone? Here's where bone grafting comes in, and where a lot of patients start to worry. Let me explain it simply. When a tooth has been missing for a while, the bone in that area starts to shrink. It's like a foundation of a house slowly settling because there's nothing there to support. And if there's not enough healthy bone, the implant has nowhere solid to anchor. Bone grafting is the process of gently building back that foundation. We place a special grafting material in the area, sometimes your own bone or a biocompatible material, and that'll allow it to heal or grow. Or we can purchase what we call allograft, which is from another human, or it can be taken from animals, can be taken from synthetic sources. There are different sources that can be used. The most common type that patients find most accepting is from another human and is treated to prevent any diseases, and is actually very common. Think of it like prepping the soil before planting something strong and lasting. And don't worry, the procedure is safe, routine, and done with the patient's comfort in mind. Most patients say the healing is easier than they expected. But doc, what if I'm not a good candidate? That's a very fair question. And honestly, dental implants are more accessible today than ever before. Even if you've been told you don't have enough bone or you waited too long, advancements in 3D imaging, guided surgery, and bone regeneration have made it possible for many patients to regain what they thought was lost. The key is having a thorough consultation and understanding your options. Are implants worth it? Let me tell you why I recommend implants for the right candidates. They help preserve the jawbone, preventing bone loss. They don't rely on neighboring teeth the way bridges do. They look and feel completely natural, and they can last a lifetime with proper care. They also can be used with dentures to help anchor dentures to prevent that movement that most dentures have. These are called implant-supported dentures. Most of all, they help restore function and confidence, so you can speak, smile, chew without worrying. If you've been putting off replacing a tooth, or you've been worried about words like implant or grafting, I want you to know this. These aren't scary procedures. They're carefully planned, done gently, and designed with you in mind. They have also become extremely popular and is considered the gold standard of treatment. Every step we take is towards something better, a healthier, stronger, and more confident version of you.
And we say a special thank you, sir, once more for your love, service, and support to Ask the Doctor and Trinidad and Tobago. You know the drill. One question, one right answer, and you could be our next lucky winner. Healthy joints, a happy heart, and prizes you love. The giveaway segment is coming up next.
A mortgage is what helps you turn your dream of owning a home into reality. First Citizens helps you plan for every other cost, such as insurance, maintenance, and utilities. Mortgages build equity, offer long-term investment, and give you freedom to make the space yours. First Citizens is here to help you understand your first steps to a mortgage. First Citizens.
Presenting the most modern pharmaceutical facility in the country, Food Basket Hyperfarm Pharmacy Food Basket Complex, Arima. We stock the widest range of health and beauty products, baby supplies, stationery, fragrances, and cosmetics. Our organic, sugar, and gluten-free products cater to vegans and the health conscious. A wide assortment of dispensary medication and over-the-counter items at the most affordable prices. Make Hyperfarm Pharmacy your choice. Located on the compound of Food Basket Complex, Arima.
The Trinidad and Tobago Energy Conference and Trade Show 2026 takes place on Monday, January 26th. Tune in to CNC3 for a live broadcast starting in the morning brew from 6 a.m., followed by the opening ceremony at 9 a.m. The conference will feature addresses by Mala Baliraj, Ariel Flores, Yarand Reistad, Dustin Meyer, Dr. Boyega Ayeni, and many others. The Trinidad and Tobago Energy Conference 2026, only on CNC3.
Welcome back to CNC3's Ask the Doctor. It's giveaway time with the compliments of Great Health Works. A special hello to Joseph Sendel and the rest of his team. Belated anniversary blessings to Mr. Sendel and his lovely wife. So it's question time, and when we talk about phobias, you know, this is associated with an intense fear of something. So the numbers on the screen when you're patched into the studio, listen on your telephone rather than the TV set, because there is a delay that creates confusion. Our question with respect to these intense fears of phobias is as follows. Trypanophobia is an intense fear of what? So it's a medical tool, it's a medical device that is frequently employed in procedures. Trypanophobia. So an intense fear, sometimes disabling. It may be associated with sweating, heart palpitations, nervousness, tremors, sometimes even fainting. And trypanophobia, you know, there are so many terms with phobia as the suffix, and in fact we have actually asked that, that word phobia that refers to an intense disabling fear. Trypanophobia, good evening and welcome to our show.
And in fact, we have actually asked.
Hello? You're on the air, good evening. Hello? Oh, it sounds like we lost that call. And as a reminder, when you're patched into the studio, listen on the telephone, because that delay created confusion with our first caller. So, trypanophobia, we're back to the phone lines. Good evening and welcome to Ask the Doctor. Thank you for being part of our program, and Happy New Year. Good evening.
Likewise.
Thank you. So, trypanophobia.
Is it needles?
Indeed, fear of needles extending to things like blood drawing or injections. Congratulations, you're a winner.
Thank you so very much.
It is so lovely to hear your voice. Have you tried these supplements before?
Never did.
All right, so there's a first time for everything. Stay on the line because we want to take some of your personal information off the air. And what a delight and honor to have you as a winner on this segment of Ask the Doctor. It's time for a short break, and when we return, we want to hear some more of your calls, questions, and hopefully answers as the open forum is up next.
At Guardian General Insurance, we know your home is more than just a building. It's where your family feels safe and where memories are made. That's why we're here to protect not just your house, but the people and dreams inside it. We are your partner, working alongside you to provide the right protection, the right support, and the peace of mind you deserve. With Guardian General Insurance, you can live safe, live easy.
Struggling with blood sugar swings, high blood pressure, or stiff joints? Take control with Aja Nutrition's powerful wellness trio. Berberine Plus supports healthy blood sugar. Blood pressure support helps keep your pressure in check. And Joint Aid keeps your joints moving so you can stay active every day. Don't wait. Choose Aja Nutrition for trusted, effective solutions. Available at Pennywise and leading pharmacies nationwide. Feel better, move better, live better with Aja Nutrition.
Welcome back to the open forum of CNC3's Ask the Doctor. We're live on Thursdays with a rerun on Friday at 11 a.m. or Saturday at 11:30 in the morning. Birthday blessings to Tara Dookie. So that entire family, the matriarch, always locked into CNC3's Ask the Doctor. And of course, a special hello as we go further southeast to Mrs. Priscilla Ramratan. She never misses an episode of this show. And thank you once more. God's blessings to you in 2026. So we head to Princestown. Good evening and welcome to our show.
Good evening, Doctor.
Thank you for joining us, sir.
I want to ask you a question, not on conventional medicine.
Certainly.
But there seems to be a widespread disease that is affecting persons when they come into contact with the African snails.
Yes.
Can you point me in any direction where there is treatment for the African snail poisoning? I will listen to you off air, Doc.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for taking the time to call in, because it has been a bugbear, I think, throughout Trinidad and Tobago and indeed the wider region, that those snails have become perhaps the worst pest to so many of the home gardens and agricultural lands in this country. And the ministries have been actually struggling to maintain these numbers because they multiply at such a rapid rate. They've always advised to avoid handling, and certainly we would not endorse the consumption of these snails. So if you're handling them, wear gloves, because it's thought that when these snails die, or if you try to touch them, they sometimes release a fluid that may contain an infectious agent. Very uncommonly, it's associated with a brain infection. The lining of the brain is called the meninges. And when this becomes inflamed or infected, the term is meningitis. Persons may present with fever, headache, neck stiffness, confusion, nausea, and vomiting. And if you're admitted to hospital, blood investigations, including what we refer to as blood cultures, would be performed. You'd be sent for a scan of the brain, and then subsequently a sample of spinal fluid may actually form part of the diagnostic tests, and then management with antibiotics or antivirals if deemed to be needed. So it's uncommon, and I think most persons will not find, if they avoid close contact with these pests, that they will be exposed to these infectious agents. It's very rare, but it's potentially hazardous and even fatal. Thank you for bringing that to the front burner, because how do we deal with it? I mean, a few months back, persons were told that if you brought a certain weight of snails, that you'd be reimbursed, but I haven't heard in the last few months any simple answer. Persons use bleach, salt, sometimes snail bait. We've been battling this in the yards, especially if there's an open space nearby, and I certainly hope that the Ministry of Agriculture, in conjunction with that of Health, can address the problem of the giant African snails. As we head to the east, as Arima is on the line, good evening and welcome to our show.
Good evening, Doctor. I want to ask about the high blood pressure, the difference between high blood pressure and low blood pressure. What takes place in this disease or this phase? What is high blood pressure? What is the pressure height? What it's supposed to be? What one let me say 130 over 75.
Yes, sir.
Or what the case may be, and the low blood pressure. Okay, Doc, so can you explain that to me?
Thank you very much, and fascinating question, sir. Happy New Year to you too. So hypertension or high blood pressure is the single most important preventable cause of premature death in the world. And as we know, it's referred to as a silent killer because persons may have a paucity of symptoms, but it would be damaging eyes, kidneys, blood vessels. You would be at increased risk for heart attacks, heart failure, strokes, and blockages to the arteries in the legs. So a multitude of complications associated with a silent killer. And most of the medical bodies have said that we want to maintain the world's blood pressure perhaps less than 130 over 80 millimeters of mercury. That top number, for the sake of our viewers, is called a systolic blood pressure. It's when the heart is contracting and less than 130. And if the heart is relaxing at that point, the diastolic should be under 80. And the unit is millimeters of mercury, so 130 over 80. One size doesn't fit all, and of course, some persons, apart from diet and exercise, would need to be prescribed medications to attain those goals, particularly if you're battling other problems, such as diabetes, heart disease, or if you've had a stroke in the past. So the watchword is prevention when it comes to hypertension. Now, low blood pressure is a separate entity, and it could be argued that it's not a disease. It's not a diagnosis such as hypertension. 90% of people with hypertension would have what we say is primary or essential in nature, that we're unsure about the cause, but of course, genetics and lifestyle would play a role. But there is a sizable minority of 10% of people who have high blood pressure that may have an underlying cause. They are said to have secondary hypertension. Is there a problem with the hormones? Is the thyroid hyperactive? Are you producing too many steroids or growth hormones? Is there a problem with the kidneys or an immune-mediated disorder? Are you having a problem with sleep in which you're snoring with a wide neck called obstructive sleep apnea? Are you using certain drugs for coughs and colds that are called decongestants, which may cause spikes in blood pressure? So 90% of people with hypertension are said to have essential or primary forms of the disease, and 10% may have secondary hypertension, hormonal changes, renal, if there are problems with drugs and so forth. And of course, lifestyle changes, and there are certain medications and a battery of tests that your doctor may wish to send you for to ensure that, one, that there is not an underlying reason for the spike in blood pressure, and two, ensuring that the organs are not damaged by such. Now, low blood pressure, as we said, is not necessarily a disease entity, but it may represent something has caused your blood pressure to dip. Is it due to the medications? The dose may need adjusting. Have you lost a lot of fluid? So if you've run a marathon, if you've had excessive sweating, if there's been an infection that led to vomiting and diarrhea, you've lost body fluids, your blood pressure has dipped as a result. The medical term is actually hypotension. Is there a serious infection? As part of the first caller, we were speaking about the uncommon risk for meningitis, that lining of the brain. That causes your blood pressure to fall. And persons may find that they're dizzy, weak, or even blackout. So it may be due to an underlying cause that requires even admission to hospital, an emergency room. So is it a problem with a pump in the heart, and thus your blood pressure is falling? So a multitude of reasons there too. It's not necessarily a diagnosis. If you are young, fit and well, and your blood pressure is perhaps 100 over 60, that may be perfectly normal for you. That requires no further investigation. However, if you're accustomed to having readings which were a bit higher, and suddenly you've found that your readings have dipped to 90 over 60 millimeters of mercury, it may require further attention and evaluation by your physician. Our next caller hails from St. James. Good evening, and welcome to Ask the Doctor.
Hi, Dr. Knight.
Thank you.
I'd just like to find out one thing, please. I'd like to find out about arthritis in your knee.
Yes, ma'am.
And painkiller for it, and steroid for the swelling.
Yes.
And if it would ever go, so I'd like to find out more about it because recently I have been diagnosed with arthritis in one of my knee and it's painful. So I'd like to find out more about the tablet and the steroid and whatnot. Thank you so much.
And you're most welcome, and Happy New Year to you. And that is a marvelous question because it represents one of the commonest reasons for persons seeking healthcare throughout the world. Now, the word arthritis refers to joint inflammation. So many people, it could be due to degenerative changes, or they may be reasons for inflammation. Are your levels of uric acid high? Is it due to gout? Is it due to rheumatoid arthritis in which antibodies are attacking the joint? However, the majority of individuals may have degenerative wear and tear, leading to pain, stiffness, swelling. The joint may become red, warm, and very inflamed. And as you mentioned, simple remedies work initially, such as paracetamol, non-steroidal anti-inflammatories such as ibuprofen or diclofenac available on CDAP. Have a chat with your doctor if you think it's needed. Your doctor may want to send you apart from blood investigations, sometimes a plain x-ray in this case of the knee, and looking for changes that may suggest arthritis. And if there is another reason for joint inflammation, this may be determined on sometimes basic blood investigations. Weight loss, keeping the leg up, and even the use of an ice pack during the course of the day. Rest, ice, compression and elevation sometimes help if someone has very mild inflammation of that joint. In your case, you were speaking about the use of steroids, which could sometimes be injected into the knee. You'd want to have a chat with not just your primary care doctor, but even consider whether a referral to an orthopedic specialist. That's someone who deals with muscles, bones, and joints, available, of course, at the Port of Spain General in your case, since you're hailing from St. James. So many steps in management. So it's almost like a ladder that you're climbing, and each rung of this ladder that you ascend would require different forms of management. Simple anti-inflammatories, which are available over the counter, weight loss, sometimes a referral for physiotherapy, basic blood investigations initially to determine the type of arthritis or joint inflammation. Then, if there is no ease, you ascend to another rung. In this case, is there a need for an injection, an x-ray, or a further scan of the knee? And then considering not just steroids, but even fluid injection. So there's a type of fluid that tends to cushion the joint, and it may help certain individuals who are battling degenerative changes. And as you ascend that rung, we're thinking about surgical intervention, even a knee replacement. So there are numerous steps in management. We wish you all the best, because this can be, apart from the pain, stiffness, and swelling, certainly something that affects your quality of life. Superb questions thus far. The phone lines are burning up as we head to Rima. Good evening and welcome to our show.
Hello, good evening.
Thank you for joining us, ma'am.
Thank you. I'm calling concerning my stomach. Yes. I went to get an endocrinology or something like that, where they did the test down in the stomach, yes, and the one to the back. And they told me that I had ulcers. Yes. But the ulcers are bleeding and my blood count is low. But what is happening to me is that I'm getting a stiffness at the top of my tummy, right under my breast, the middle of my tummy. I'm getting that stiffness there. And it's like, it gives me problem to breathe. Okay. I don't know if it has anything to do with the ulcers.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. As we're having a superb run of insightful questions and very common clinical conundrums. So someone who has had that test involving the camera, the term is endoscopy, in which the doctor looks at one part into for inflammation, for ulcers, for growths or masses that might be from the gullet right into the stomach and small intestine. The colonoscopy involves examination of the large bowel for similar changes. Now, if you've had ulcers, I'm assuming that your doctors would have prescribed medications to reduce the production of acid, and also there may be antibiotics, because there is actually a germ a type of bacterium that has been associated with stomach ulcers. It's abbreviated to H. pylori, and a course of antibiotics is frequently warranted to eliminate such. And sometimes these bugs are becoming quite resistant, and persons may need a change in treatment. So if your symptoms are persisting, and I'm not attempting to make a diagnosis, perhaps a scan of the tummy, an ultrasound or CT, because there may be other reasons for symptoms. Of course, you would have been advised to amend your diet when we're talking about spicy, fried, or greasy food. You may have been also advised to elevate the head of the bed and to adhere to some weight loss strategies, because these help when we're talking about acid reflux. So the acid can move upwards into the stomach. That muscle that normally separates the gullet from the stomach may become floppy, and that is also quite an annoying problem called reflux of acid. It does not mean that it's the only cause for someone who's having problems breathing, heaviness, or pain to the chest wall. We always advise that it may be muscular. Sometimes problems with the heart should be excluded. Your doctor may want to consider sending you for an ECG that looks at the electrical activity, and even a stress test in which you walk on a treadmill while those leads are connected, to ensure that there is not a separate problem that could be accounting for those symptoms, particularly in the presence of shortness of breath. So the answer is multifold, that we're considering the fact that there is a bacterium that might have been associated with ulceration of the stomach and the first part of the small intestine called H. pylori, the use of medications to reduce the production of acid, lifestyle changes, and then considering a scan of the tummies like an ultrasound or CT, if not done before. Then subsequently, is there another cause for your symptoms? The upper part of the tummy or the lower part of the chest wall? Is it muscular, problem with the lungs, or a cardiac issue? Your primary care doctor would be best, apart from taking a history, to also determine what subsequent investigations are warranted. The role of this show is just to nudge you in the right direction so that you can actually discuss whether these investigations are needed. As we head back to Princestown, good evening and welcome to our show.
Yes, good night, Doc.
Thank you for being
my
part
question, I will keep to the topic of acid reflux.
Certainly.
What are some of your advice in terms of aiding this acid reflux? Someone told me that eating a piece of aloes is very helpful.
Yes.
And even the aloe vera drink that they sell, they say that that is quite good to take. I'd like your opinion on that. And also what I notice is, like, in terms of when you eat spicy foods with a lot of pepper and even curry foods, it tends to exacerbate the problem of acid. So can you elaborate on this, please? Thank you. Take care.
You're most welcome, and thank you for being part of the open forum. Superb question once more, because it's such a common clinical entity when we're talking about reflux of acid. And sometimes one size wouldn't fit all with this too, because you mentioned about some herbal remedies which may help with your symptoms. Some people find that milk, and we know that sometimes the unpasteurized cow's milk, which we don't recommend, or yogurt might sometimes help. And that may vary from one person to the next. Persons find that probiotics may ease their symptoms, not having large meals, particularly too late at night, not lying in bed or elevating the head of the bed soon after eating for perhaps 45 to 60 minutes may be beneficial for certain patients. Chocolate, citrus, coffee, tea, smoking, and alcohol have also been red flags when we talk about increasing the production of acid. So you may want to limit some of these negative habits. Now, it does not mean that you can't have perhaps 1 or 2 cups of coffee, because the medical evidence is burgeoning. It may actually be helpful if you do. So drinking certain things may cause your symptoms to get worse. Sometimes by trial and error, people find that there may be mild modifications to their diet. Just as you mentioned, Trinis love a bit of spice or pepper in our foods, and these may exacerbate symptoms. I have found, especially if I eat a bit later and the food is a bit spicy or greasy, I may get some mild symptoms of acid reflux too. And I want to reiterate that all persons who get burning to their chest may not have acid reflux. Apart from an ulcer, we spoke about the possibility at the back of your mind that you may want to consider doing a cardiac test. So excluding some other reasons, do an ultrasound of the tummy. Our caller from Arima had an endoscopy done to look for some of the complications affecting the gullet and the small intestine. Are you on certain drugs such as anti-inflammatories, which are tied into our friend from St. James? These are prescribed sometimes over the counter and are associated with acid reflux and even stomach ulceration. And we are speaking about some of those which are freely available, such as aspirin, such as Brufen, ibuprofen, and diclofenac. So they have been associated with acid reflux, ulceration, sometimes even affecting the heart and kidneys. So be very vigilant about the use of non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, and of course steroids come with separate adverse effects. Dietary changes, lifestyle improvements in 2026, and of course have a look through your drug chart and determine whether or not this could be contributing to symptoms. Our next caller hails from Central Trinidad. Good evening, and thank you for waiting.
Good evening, sir.
Welcome, sir.
All right, let me commend you on your very informative medical advice that you are giving out to the population. I think you are educating us well, and I thank you for that.
Most appreciated. Thank you, sir.
Doctor, there is something that is troubling that needs a little explanation. A couple of months ago, right, there has been a virus, not only in Trinidad, but all over the world. I know especially in New York and Canada and so on, I have relatives, that this virus that is, everybody is saying it's a virus and it's the cold and so on. But this virus that has been spreading in Trinidad and abroad, it is more severe than even when people had in the COVID era.
Yes.
And the treatment that is being given, the prescriptions, it is similar to the COVID treatment, or even a bit stronger than the COVID treatment. My question is, do we have another pandemic or something that like in the air around that we are not testing for, or is there some sort of direction or advice from the WHO that we should not test for this type of thing and just treat it for fear of announcing another pandemic or proclaiming another pandemic? Because you would know, and in Trinidad especially, everywhere you turn, somebody has the virus.
Absolutely.
As a matter of fact, I had it just prior to the Christmas, and it was so severe that it took longer than any other time I had any sort of virus and so on. So from your, where you sit, sir, in dealing with not only local nationals here in Trinidad, but with your contact and your experience and your communication with international medical professionals and things, could you advise on this, what I'm speaking about? So I hope you got my point. But is it?
Certainly, and your point is well received as always. Insightful, well enunciated, and absolutely brilliant. Because a few months ago, I actually spoke about COVID coughs and complacency, because it's almost like a super flu. Many of the journals, including the British Medical Journal, would be warning us that the accident and emergencies abroad, but the casualties are actually filled with persons with coughs, colds, and of course some of the dreaded problems such as pneumonia, and even those individuals who require admission to an intensive care unit. Trinidad and Tobago is no exception. And your point is well received to the fact that persons opened up after COVID But COVID was never over. It never stopped. It was thought that for different socio-economic reasons, it was necessary to lift lockdowns and restrictions. Of course, there are many persons who believe that it was a hoax, it was blown out of proportion, and that it was purely political. And unfortunately, in this country, this was exacerbated by vaccine hesitancy and fear. Now, usually we have a surge in infections due to influenza that mirrors the winter in North America and Europe. So perhaps from October to March, we have persons with these symptoms, a fever, runny nose, sore throat, leading to a productive cough and sometimes a shortness of breath and these dreaded complications. However, this used to be a short-term illness. Persons would recover with tender loving care, fluids, rest, paracetamol. As you noted, it seems like our bodies changed after 2020, and persons, particularly those at extremes of age, if you're under 6 months, if you're over 60, if you're battling chronic diseases like diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, or kidney failure, if you're a healthcare worker, you are more exposed to these viruses. I believe that there are new variants of COVID mixed to the regular flu season, and these symptoms are certainly worse. They require sometimes steroids. We know that if there is a bacterial infection, antibiotics are needed, and avoid closed, crowded, close contact settings. We'll speak more about this in the coming weeks. Wow, parting is always such sweet sorrow. What a superb time we've had this evening. And our closing quote is from the renowned French writer, philosopher, and journalist, Albert Camus. Interestingly, his classic was The Plague, and he won the Nobel Prize for Literature in the 1950s. As we spoke about the start of the pandemic, in the depth of winter, I finally learned that within me there lay an invincible summer. So even in our hardest seasons, illness, loss, exhaustion, or uncertainty, there is something within us that cannot be extinguished. That invincible summer he spoke about is resilience, the quiet strength that keeps the heart beating, the mind hoping, and the body trying again. In medicine, we see it every day, you know, in patients who endure, recover, adapt, and keep going despite the odds. The message is simple but powerful. Circumstances may be harsh, but your inner capacity to survive and heal is stronger than you realize. Thank you for trusting me to walk beside you each week, in your homes and in your hearts. To my team behind the lens, to the cherished Neela and baby Daniel, and to you, our viewers. Stay strong, stay curious, and never stop choosing kindness. Rest, reflect, and love deeply. God bless, and we'll see you next week on Ask the Doctor.
You're watching CNC3.
It's time for Celebrity Family Feud. It's the star of the hit comedy Blackish, Anthony Anderson and his family, playing for the Watts Willowbrook Boys and Girls Club. And the stars of Braxton Family Values, Grammy Award-winning Toni Braxton and her family, playing for Lucas LA. And now, the star of our show, Steve Harvey.
Well, welcome to Celebrity Family Feud. I'm your man, Steve Harvey, and boy, it seems like I've met you before.